Hasan Piker, in any decent world, would be the fail son media himbo who would be too stupid to put together a stream and therefore wouldn't be successful. However, unfortunately, Stephen Bennell II had a crush on Hasan Piker and therefore helped him set up his stream and also raided into him a bunch of times. And so as a result, we now have to deal with Hasan Piker, which is very frustrating. And so the man is rich. He's good looking. I guess he's charismatic. He's not charismatic to me, but other people find him charismatic. And apparently there's normal Democrats who are trying to like sanitize him so he can become a part of the alternative media pipeline for left-wing politics, which I think is a horror show. I'll talk to, I'm not going to talk to Ken specifically about it, but if it comes up, I'm going to be like, I will talk to Hasan Piker at any point. There will be zero chance that I help sanitize his reputation on behalf of the Democrats. Zero. Never. I'll never be like, oh, Hasan was just being passionate when he said that the United States of America deserved 9/11. He was just influenced by American imperialism and American terrorism. That's a quote from iDubbbz, by the way, which is why he said what he said. There were 0% chance that's going to happen, right? So Sujan Pandey says, great to see you. I'm hoping to see you react to Nick on the Hodge twins. Yeah, absolutely. We'll take a look at that as well. Christian Blair says Hasan was always going into politics. You can blame Destiny, but he would have gotten there eventually. Yeah. It's easy to blame the Young Turks. It's easy to blame Destiny. It's easier to, hold it against them. The truth is, yeah, he's probably passionate about it and his family's rich enough that he would have figured it out. I just, I already do blame Hasan Piker. So, I'm looking for other people to blame. Harmonic Fox says, I'm a liberal Republican, center-left libertarian. Not even I would try to sanitize Hasan. Well, let's give it a shot, right? Let's give it a shot. So this is going to be the New York Times trying to sanitize Hasan Piker. It's going to be a wild ride. I'm not going to lie. We're gonna read it. We're going to break it down. I'll be pausing intermittently in order to do it. Let me bust out my sticky notes so I know that I can take the notes. Let me share the screen with you guys, and then I'll do a little bit of an intro and we'll get cracking. So wildly frustrating state of affairs. This is like, in my opinion, maybe this is hyperbolic. I really don't think it is. This would be like the Washington Post or the New York, what's the one that everybody hates, the drama rag? There's one that, I guess it's the New York Post and the Washington Post. This would be like New York Post or Washington Post writing a glowing review about Nick Fuentes, in my opinion. That's definitely my vibe on it. So anyways, let's add this. I'll go full screen, do my intro. We'll get it cracking. So good morning, everybody. My name is Connor. I'm a science fiction, political, and philosophy nerd, a Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran. I love breaking down the news. I love breaking down politics. I'm a Never Trump Republican. I'm a member of the Valor Media Network, which is effectively a bunch of military veterans and first responders who are trying to make better content to make the world a better place compared to all the decrepit, vapid, morally bankrupt people that are out there. And we're going to be talking about one of those people, in my opinion. I know that Valor is kind of, anti-MAGA, anti-Trump. However, this is not, I don't consider myself necessarily a part of the left. I'm a Never Trump Republican, right? If this becomes part of the Democrat Party, I'm telling you, I'm not going to back you, right? I view this as nefarious as the dissident right. So without further ado, instead of yapping about it, why don't I just show you? Okay, because there's actually a hilarious photo in this segment. So there's this guy named Jack Crosby who has contributed to Rolling Stone and contributed to the New York Times, and he wrote a glowing review of Hasan Piker. For the uninitiated, Hasan Piker is the son of Mehmet Piker, okay? Mehmet. Mehmet Piker is a multi-millionaire, possibly billionaire, who sits on the Board of Trade in Turkey. He had the good wisdom to have his son in New Jersey, so Hasan was granted citizenship. Then he has an uncle named Cenk Uygur who runs an alternative media company called the Young Turks. Hasan Piker did dating advice shows in the early 2010. Then he became a contributor for the for the Young Turks. Then he went independent and became a streamer. And now he's like the most popular political streamer in the Western world. I think he gets like 30,000 live viewers, and sometimes he'll get a few 100,000 live viewers. That's a statistic I saw the other day when there's like major news going on, like the January 6th riots or the revolution in Turkey or that kind of stuff. Anyways, revolution in Turkey might have been before his time, but the point stands that whenever there's a major news event, he can crack 100,000 live viewers, which is insane for an individual to do. But the New York Times has seen it fit to have Jack Crosby in, I think this is their style segment, so it's opinion, so it's not like news, but they still glaze what is effectively a terrorist sympathizer. And if you don't believe me, they put his crotch right here for some reason. Let's read it, and it's actually hilarious, the evidence that they end up presenting. So let's read it together. Hasan Piker thinks being a man is simple. Is he going to explain what that means? I don't think so. Like many of the successful internet personalities who appeal to a generation of young men, Mr. Piker, a 33-year-old Twitch and YouTube streamer, is a bro. He likes weapons, inhales supplements, uses nicotine pouches, and ruminates endlessly on the legacy of LeBron James. So I'm going to write this down in case this is the definition of a man real quick, because we have our 3 pillars of masculinity based off of the biblical shepherd, which is tough enough to fight predators, resourceful enough to survive, and capable of nurturing and defending the vulnerable. According to the New York Times, Jack Crosby and Hasan Piker, maybe they'll delve into masculinity. Hasan Piker masculinity. If there's a better definition later on, we'll do it. Is liking weapons, inhaling supplements, nicotine pouches, liking LeBron James. This is masculinity according to the New York Times Jack Crosby, which is already giving me an aneurysm. But unlike many of his contemporaries, Mr. Piker, an avowed socialist, is just at ease, dressing in French-made drag as he is on a basketball court. Being comfortable wearing women's clothing. That's another thing that makes you manly. Okay. We're really kicking it off with a strong start, New York Times. In the 6 years he started his daily online broadcasts about culture and politics, Mr. Piker has become a streaming star. He has about 4.5 million followers combined on YouTube and Twitch, the platform wildly popular with Americans who came of age during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the most reductive way, it just comes down to confidence. Oh, I believe that. That's what people are talking about when it comes to masculinity, Mr. Piker said in an interview. They're talking about confidence. Okay. Being confident. That confidence carries over into Mr. Piker's discussions of politics. On his streams, conversations about dating, gaming, or exercising often turn into rants supporting organized labor, universal health care, or LGBTQ rights, and Hamas. I added that last part. He will just as frequently pivot from criticizing the Democratic Party or the Israeli government to slamming right-wing comedians. This fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Mr. Piker a Joe Rogan of the left. Kill me now. Kill me now. God, strike me down with lightning. If Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. I did not think he was going to use the actual Joe Rogan of the left. I did not think that that was going to happen. I did not think that was going to happen. That hurts me psychically. Oh. O'Seal says, oh, focus on more drama, I see. Well, yeah, politics is drama. Sorry to break it to you, O'Seal. Jonah Boy says, masculinity for progressives. Paint your fingernails, cry for fun, submit to women, be bisexual, eat hot chip, and lie. You are not lying, bro. You are not lying. Here's Hasan Piker redone as the guy from Wolfenstein, although he hates America. Ironic. And then over here, there's like diaper art of Hasan Piker. I swear to God, there's one of him in a diaper. It's actually insane. Christian Blair says, this is just another retarded opinion piece. It's not going to lead anywhere. Mainstream Dems aren't listening to progressives, which is why AOC moderated, which leads progressives to getting mad at her. Hey, listen, you can say that. I appreciate your confidence. I hope you're totally right. However, to me, this is like cancer. Okay, this is like brain cancer. I will not allow this anywhere near me. Damn, imagine being triggered by a socialist is more manly than you. Oseal, you fucking retard. Sorry, Ken. Sorry, Ma. Sorry, Jesus, okay? I have muscles, okay? These I did not get by doing steroids. I did not have to do steroids in order to do these. I have 2 children, okay? Meaning that I'm not a retarded mid-30-year-old, like, neat. Well, he's not a neat, is he? I'm not some dumbass who is incapable of growing up and having children. I served in law enforcement. I served in the military. This person is not more masculine than me. They're not more of a man than me. They're not cooler than me. They're not anything more than me. They're a dumbass. They're a retard. They're an idiot. They're a cancer on our politics. So you can either say something productive. This is my final warning to you, Oseal. Say something productive like, I actually like Hasan Piker for this reason. You can say that in my chat. But if you keep going, haha, you're triggered, ha 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 ha, I'm going to kick you out of the chat because I'm not going to get one guide by you because I would rather get one guide by people who are actually entertaining and have something to say. Anyways, after taking psychic damage from this statement, let's go ahead and check out the next part. Mr. Piker's success on camera in some part has been aided by the fact that he is, by conventional standards, a very handsome man. This isn't wrong. He is 6'4" and built like a professional athlete with a square jaw, a beard, and a head thick of dark hair. He takes finasteride because he's balding. He is 6'4". Guess what? I'm 6'4" as well. And built like a professional athlete. I'm not built like a professional athlete, but I also haven't been a millionaire for a decade off of grifting as a socialist. It's the one aspect that many of my haters can't shake, Mr. Piker said on his appearance in a Twitch broadcast last year. They can't turn around and be like, you're not hot. He's right. He's a fucking idiot. He's a dumbass. He's a jihadist apologist. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but he is attractive. We'll concede this fact. His physique is the result of an intense fitness regimen that on a sunny morning in January involved repeated sets of squats with a 275-pound barbell, Romanian deadlifts, and walking lunges. It's ironic because like a lot of these Sigma grind set guys are constantly talking about regimens and being an alpha dog, Mr. Piker said, referring to subjects of memes about masculinity that are common in right-wing discourse online. I do live that life, he added, but then I have diametrically opposed politics. True. This is true. Damn, and girls find them hot. Oh, okay. Oseal, lol triggered, average cult member behavior. Bro, shut the fuck up. Imagine getting so triggered because of your low self-esteem about your masculinity. Get over it. Grow the fuck up. I have very high self-esteem. So, bye. Everybody say goodbye to Oseal. Bye, Oseal. Have fun. Have fun. Bye, Oseal. Guess who else is 6'4"? Sam Hyde. So true. Protected by Jock insurance. Oh my God, I've been reading this without showing you. How rude of me. Protected by Jock insurance. Indeed, tens of thousands of viewers may watch his videos for his political views, but many also tune in for the view of Mr. Piker himself, whose social media profiles are littered with suggestive images with muscly bodies in states of undress or thirst traps, as the pictures are known. Some of his fans scrape, screenshot, clip, and package them into fan cams, that travel across the internet, glorifying Mr. Piker's appearance and indirectly his belief. Fan cams. That's worrisome. Why did this link to a RFK Jr. thing? All right. Anyways. Thirst traps and fan cams. That's a little creepy. Emma Morgan, a 27-year-old researcher, is among them. A lot of people are just really shallow online, Mrs. Morgan said. There's a stigma of if you care about marginalized people, if you care about these issues, you must be a weak basement-dwelling dude. If I have to make a fan cam to radicalize people, she adds, then I will. Okay. Mr. Piker approaches getting dressed with the same meticulousness as he does working out. Each day he streams typically, posts a selfie of his outfit before he starts. His clothing choices can sometimes be as provocative as his opinions. On a recent trip to Japan, Mr. Piker wore a tight French maid's outfit, a pair of fuzzy cat ears, and a demure string of pearls while streaming from one of the country's maid cafes. Okay, this is As Drew Pavlu will happily point out, this is actually gayer than being homosexual. During a Twitch stream in 2023, Mr. Piker asked viewers to participate in a live demographic survey. Those who did offered a sense of his audience. About 70% of participants identified as male, more than 60% identified as being younger than 30, and about 40% identified as having a sexual orientation other than straight. There's a silver lining here. There is a silver lining here. So let's do some stats real quick, okay? Let's say that Hasan Piker has 250,000 people who take him seriously, which might be an underestimation, it might be an overestimation, but let's just say that that's about a round number for like his rabid base, okay? So 250,000 who did, about 70% of his participants are male, okay? Calculator. 250 times 0.7, 175. 175,000 men, which leaves 75,000 women, and then 40%, 250,000 times 0.40, 100,000. 100,000 of them are gay or bi. Gay or bi. Okay, cool. This is who we're fighting against, okay? 250,000 men and women, or they be MBs, and then 175,000 of them are male or men, and then 75,000 of them are women, and then out of that demographic, 100,000 are gay or bi. So, I mean, that's actually good, I guess, because let's face it, only a third of gay people can fight. During a Twitch stream in 2023, we just read that Mr. Piker benefits from Jock insurance, said Tristan Bridges, a sociologist who studies masculinity and gender at the University of California, Santa Barbara. The term is used to describe how men with a lot of masculine gender capital are generally given more leeway to do things like challenge norms and make mistakes. Okay, that's fine. The jocks are allowed to break the rules and not have consequences for it, Mr. Bridges said, adding that Mr. Piker's idea of masculinity was less rigid than more traditional versions centered on the belief that America was easier and better when everybody played the roles that they were designed to play. Jordan Dean, a 19-year-old gender studies student who follows Mr. Piker, said that the part that he plays up the most is definitely that he's a bro, cisgender, heterosexual white guy, depending on the day. Depending on the day, he'll identify as white. Depending on the day, he'll identify as Turkish, and then, you know, basically have a very anti-American rant or anti-European rant. Depends on the day. Mr. Dean, a transgender man, okay, added, watching him be comfortable painting his nails, wearing dresses, it's not revolutionary things, but he's showing that it's okay to be a cis guy and experiment with gender presentation. All right. Okay. That's not too bad. Not too bad. What the F was up with STV Philly's comment about this piece? Lol, dude was always not the smartest, especially, but well, I mean, I'm sure he'll pop into chat at some point. Connor, why isn't the NYT's interviewing your politics? Maybe because Hasan is a Nepo baby that has the support of Twitch leadership and TYT. Yeah, dude, if all of Twitch wants to back me and then, you know, say, hey, this is the new face of politics, I mean, I'll be happy to do that. That's totally fine. If I could travel back in time like a decade and then have people, I don't know, nepotistically support me through my easy media career, yeah, we could time travel a little bit. I was too busy serving in the Marine Corps, getting my 4-year degree, and being a law enforcement officer. But besides those things, we could go ahead and be a media nepo baby for sure. Mr. Bombastic says the shapeshifter, straight up. I don't get overwhelming straight vibes from Hasan. Neither do I. I get bi vibes. I'm not going to lie. Painting your nails is just weird if you're not a girl. There, I said it. I find guys wearing nail polish as cred. Well, see, the thing about this is, this isn't like particularly shocking to me. There were goth guys growing up who wore nail polish. That's not the problem, okay? As a matter of fact, I'm going to slow down a little bit. I think I started reading and then OCL pissed me off, and then I kept reading. Let me describe why this pisses me off. New York Times, for better or for worse, is part of the legacy media. The legacy media is viewed as gatekeepers in reference to political access, money, all that kind of stuff. Now, in alternative media, you can be incredibly wealthy and incredibly successful and have a lot of clout and influence, but it actually takes the legacy media kind of giving you a blessing in order to gain access to the actual halls of power. And so as a result, what's frustrating and disgusting to me about this is Hasan Piker and his audience are psychopaths who say a lot of crazy stuff. And effectively what the New York Times has done by blessing Jack Crosby in order to bless Hasan Piker is they've said that Hasan Piker is culturally relevant enough that you should ignore all of his sins and give him access to the halls of power. That's what I'm reading about it subconsciously. So, you know, you can read it differently if you want, but I think that's what pisses me off about this. Focus Lady says, just skip the BS and read primary sources. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but in general, I feel you're right. Sapien Green says, you just need to put on about 40 pounds of muscle and wear makeup before that has a chance of happening. Dude, I'm pretty sure I weigh the same, okay? Pretty sure, I don't think he's much more than 250 pounds. I probably need to cut my body fat percentage by like, I don't know, 5%, 10%, and then maybe do steroids. So that's about it. Hey, if that's what you're into, God bless. Right, who cares? Sharing his kinky dreams about Sam Hyde was not what I expected to see this morning. Jesus Christ. Listen, I don't think I'm sharing any kinky dreams about Sam Hyde. I'm terrified of Sam Hyde. Are you kidding me? So K Sogo says, the nail polish isn't the real issue. It's the thought patterns that led you to painting your nails when you're not a woman. Cringe and very socially awkward, has always been that way. Maybe. Kneeling on says, personally, I don't care about what you want to get into bed with, and I care is if you're a good person or not, and Hamas Piker is not a good person. I mean, I'm with you there. Toj Weeshow says, when is Hasan doing bro activities? He has doggy play dates and plays dress up. Well, I mean, apparently he lifts weights and does Romanian deadlifts and squats. So, I mean, that's kind of masculine, right? So anyways, let us continue with the content. Gains, guns, and gay culture. Okay, let's try to make it through this and not cringe to death, okay? Wow, man, before we do, though, says, not you, Connor. Jonah Boy was the one having... Jonah Boy was allegedly fantasizing about Sam Hyde. Okay, got it. All right, you guys are crazy. You guys are having too much fun. I'm having too much fun. Gains, guns, and gay culture. Mr. Piker typically streams from a studio at his home in West Hollywood, very famous gay place, a modern townhouse he shares with Kaya, his Bernese mountain dog mix that weighs no more than 100 pounds, or weighs more than 100 pounds. I would actually like to see what the Bernese mountain dog Kaya is mixed with. This is Kaya, okay? Let's take a look at a Bernese mountain dog and see if they're identical, okay? Tan Bernese mountain dog. Okay, you know what? I will accept that Kaya could be a mutt, but I'm going to tell you something funny about his dog, okay? So allegedly, this dog was from a breeder and cost 10 grand. That's what, who is it? That's what Ethan Klein alleged, all right? Now, that being said, what Hasan did was for 2 weeks, he went to various rescues and took a look at a ton of dogs. And he also donated thousands of dollars for all the dog adoptions to be free at that kennel for 2 weeks. So the question is, I don't even really care that much. I do just think it's funny. He might have donated thousands of dollars to dog rescues specifically because he wanted a bred dog and he didn't want his audience to give him flack for spending $10,000 on a dog. That's the rumor. Okay, so let's just call that a rumor and keep it moving. He can spend up to 10 hours a day recording in his studio where there are no fewer than 10 swords and shells festooned with video game art and other knickknacks. There's also a black assault rifle, which Mr. Piker was quite quick to note it was fake. It's airsoft, he said. I like guns, but I would never keep one in the house. Why? Haven't you been doxxed plenty of times? Aren't you worried about potential burglars? Aren't you worried about harassment and stalking? This feels like an immature perspective on weapons, but that's okay. That's okay. We all have our different perspectives on weapons. I'll allow Hasan Piker to have his own perspective. While Mr. Rogan's podcasts typically feature interviews with guests that meander into politics, Mr. Piker often approaches the topic alone on solo streams, though he has recorded with the likes of Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Representative AOC. Last year, he streamed from the DNC. Mr. Piker disagrees with the comparisons to Mr. Rogan and has characterized what each does as completely different. So the reason why he streams solo is because he gets ripped to shreds whenever he does a debate. His marathon stream sessions are fueled partly by cartons of Zyn, cans of Diet Dr. Pepper, and energy drinks. Mr. Piker, who fasts daily as a part of his fitness routine, usually consumes only coffee until around 2 p.m. when he has his first meal at precisely 1.1 pounds of roasted chicken breast with low-carb pita, meze, and sauce. So this is the funniest part of this entire interview, okay? This is the funniest part. The New York Times took a picture of Hasan Piker eating, and they did not look at his chat while they were doing it, okay? Because what this chat says, is there a Zoom button? I'm going to read it to you. Enjoy the suspense. Now, I don't have to worry about random freakish pornography popping up onto my computer because I'm not a freak. Here we go. So, bear in mind, this is a random screenshot of Hasan Piker, allegedly the Joe Rogan of the left, okay? Ionhead94, who is not a white name, so this means that he's a financial donor to Hasan Piker, and he thought that this was appropriate to say on Hasan Piker's stream. The New York Times took a photo of it and didn't double check what he said before posting this. It's going to be vulgar, okay? So pre-warning to all the 30 and 40-year-old women who are watching this stream or VOD, my apologies in advance. Lionhead94 says, I'd fuck this IDF bitch to death and make his mother shove missiles up her ass, pussy ass bitches. I want you to think about that for a second, okay? This is effectively a Payne Hasan chatter talking about raping someone to death, okay? So obviously, Hasan Piker, I've accused him of this. Many other people have accused him of this. He has minimized the sexual assaults of October 7, 2023, the terrorist attack against Israel. He has said, number one, he said that the rapes didn't happen or there's no evidence of them happening. And then when he's presented with circumstantial evidence of that happening, he says, oh, well, even if rapes did happen, that actually doesn't change my moral calculus one iota. And it's like, it probably should. If the militant organization that's fighting for your side takes part in rape and murder as a part of their tactics, and they not only don't apologize for it, they actually endorse it, that's horrifying, and you should be called out at minimum. And then number two, if your chat thinks that it's okay, your paying chat thinks that it's okay to say this and that they won't suffer a moderating repercussion, a ban or a suspension, that kind of tells me some things about your community that you're cultivating, doesn't it? I absolutely think so. Then here's the other thing, is that that's not even the first chat that people pointed out, okay? The second thing is, Zero, Hasanabi, isn't this all a part of their crazy ideology of recruiting greater Israel, which includes either countries around that area? So is this just never going to stop? And so we have somebody talking about greater Israel, which you could say is real or not real to a certain extent, kind of depends, right? But it is effectively like an anti-Semitic, anti-Zionist statement, because in the Old Testament, God promised the Jewish people the land between the Nile and the Euphrates. Okay? So all of this is probably supposed to one day be Israel, according to the Old Testament. However, we live in geopolitical reality where there are people already here in the Sinai, in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, and in Iraq. And so as a result, what they're saying is we have one person who is saying, I would rape this person to death. And then we have another person saying, oh, well, isn't Israel just going to expand into all these places anyways? Which gives you a casus belli, a case of war for the destruction of the state of Israel. So very normal things happening in New York Times puff piece about Hasan Piker. Very normal things. He says his persona is built upon authentic interests in fitness, culture, style, and politics that he has had throughout his life. Mr. Piker was in a fraternity at Rutgers University, yes, but he also has been a lifelong gamer and anime fan. He moved to the LA area in 2013 after graduating from Rutgers and telling his parents, both college professors, that he intended to apply to law school. Instead, he got a job in ad sales at the Young Turks, a progressive news network founded by his uncle, the pundit Cenk Uygur. Mr. Piker does not deny that he is a quote-unquote Nepo baby. He said, a perfect society is one in which those types of advantages don't matter, he added. By 2016, he was regularly appearing in videos on the Young Turks social media accounts. He started streaming on Twitch 2 years later. Fashion, he said, is something he has loved since he was a too-big teen growing up in Turkey, where he inhaled American culture through TV shows like The Boondocks. Mr. Piker, who is straight, is aware that wearing pearls and painting his nail can suggest otherwise, inviting attention from gay men. Last year, when a gay content creator asked Mr. Piker if he was an ally in an interview at a Pride event in Los Angeles, he jokingly said no, then playfully added, I'm a foe. Mr. Piker then spanked the interviewer, who was wearing an American flag Speedo swimsuit, in front of a bus emblazoned with the logo for Grindr, the gay dating app. Of his image, he said, I don't feel the need to present myself in any way that I am not. So, listen, this is part of the contradiction. I'm not going to freak out about it too much, right? However, this is part of the contradiction of progressive politics. I'm just going to be real. If you're a progressive, God bless you. I hope you want good things, and I hope you don't like bad things. Okay? That's the most that I can say. However, obviously, when we're talking about Hasan Piker supporting jihadist organizations like Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthi terrorists, all that kind of stuff, and doing propaganda for them, I do think that it kind of is like juxtaposed or contradicts his progressive instincts to be sexually promiscuous, to popularize homosexuality, to engage in flirtatious banter by spanking a gay man who's wearing an American flag, by dressing up in maids' outfits, all that kind of stuff. Now, human beings live in that contradiction, so I'm not going to... So he committed sexual assault. Yeah, actually, you know what? Here's the thing. So a lot of people accuse the streamer, popular streamer Destiny, liberal streamer Destiny, they accuse him of sexual assault for groping his girlfriend on stream against her consent. So unless we get the interviewer, his name and telephone number, and he confirms that he was spanked with consent, then at this point, Hasan Piker is also a sexual assaulter. It's true. That's a great point, Christian Valeris. I am being sarcastic, of course. So anyways, just pointing out some of the contradictions in progressive philosophy. That's fine. This isn't too extreme. Let's continue. Always unfiltered, sometimes extreme. Mr. Piker is similarly unfiltered with his viewpoints. Some can be extreme. A vocal critic of U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, Mr. Piker has been labeled anti-American by people across the political spectrum for saying the country, quote-unquote, deserved the September 11th attacks. His recent accusations that Israel's committing, quote-unquote, genocide, well, thanks for putting in quotes, I appreciate that, in Gaza, and his diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters of Israel, including liberals like Representative Richie Torres of New York, to call Mr. Piker anti-Semitic. I find anti-Semitism to be completely unacceptable, Mr. Piker said on a call in April. I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous. Now, let's go ahead and clarify this thing for the very few people who read this New York Times op-ed piece and were convinced that Hasan Piker is actually not an anti-Semite, okay? He can claim not to be an anti-Semite. He can believe that he's not an anti-Semite, but he absolutely routinely platforms somebody who is. So actually two people who are. He has fellow travelers with two people who I know are anti-Semites. Noah Samson and then Bad Empanada. And so they're going to play a game of hide the ball with you real quick, but I'm going to explain why it's a stupid game. All right. So the hide the ball game. Okay. The hide the ball game is they'll say, well, I'm not against individual Jewish people. I am against the concept of Zionism or Israel being a settler colonial state. And then what Noah Samson and Bad Empanada have consistently pointed out is that 97% of Israelis and 80% of Jewish people internationally are supportive of the existence of the state of Israel. They say that Zionism is philosophically akin to Nazism, and then without skipping a beat, they will say that what Nazism should do if you believe in the ideology of Nazism, because according to them, Zionism and Nazism are the same, is that you should at minimum be dispossessed from society. You at maximum should be beaten, incarcerated, or killed either by a mob or by the state. So yeah, I know for a fact that bad empanada in any sane definition of anti-Semitism will be classified as an anti-Semite. I know that Noah Samson with any sane definition of anti-Semitism will be classified as an anti-Semite. And I know that Hasan Piker travels with these people, promotes these people, engages with these people, helps their platforms do better, et cetera, et cetera. So Hasan Piker himself can believe that he's not anti-Semitic. He has anti-Semitic friends, and he's 100% anti-Zionist. He will tell you as much while also supporting jihadist organizations. His video streams are peppered with expletives, vulgarities, and other language that many have disavowed in the name of political correctness. He blocked commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when they challenge his views on topics like transgender rights or the war in Gaza. Some have accused him of sharing misinformation on streams, but Mr. Piker says his aim is to provide factual information along with his own views. So I'm just going to pull this up again. He says he will ban overt hate speech. So this isn't overt hate speech. This is inferred hate speech. Okay. Isn't this all a part of their crazy ideology of recreating greater Israel? Okay, cool. So we just have effectively accusing the entire Israeli state of being a genocidal expansionist state that wants to claim all the territory between the Euphrates and the Nile. Okay, very cool. And then I would also say that this is bordering hate speech, but because he's saying IDF instead of Zionist or Jewish, it's gonna pass. Okay. And I'm just going to read this to you again because of how reprehensible it is and how it's in the article that's referencing how, you know, Hasan should be the Joe Rogan of the left. Lionhead94 says, I'd fuck this IDF bitch to death and make his mother shove missiles up her ass, pussy ass bitches. Okay. So we're just, right? That this is just Hasan's community. This is the community that he's fostering. I would be surprised if we checked Hasan's chat logs and found that Lionhead94 had been banned, or if he had been banned, I would be surprised if it was for threats to violence against Jewish people. John Favreau, a founder of the center-left podcast Pod Safe America and its liberal parent company Crooked Media, said Mr. Piker's willingness to engage with viewpoints outside his own was another trait that might appeal to young men who had swung towards the right. He wants to reach those people too, Mr. Favreau said. But the way Mr. Piker presents himself could work against him, said Reese Peck, a professor of media culture at the College of Staten Island and the author of Fox Populism, Branding Conservatism as Working Class. He's more events in Soho than he is Eastern Kentucky, as Mr. Peck put it. The bi-coastal, stylish, hip masculinity has its limitations to appeal to a broad array of young men, especially working class young men. Sorry, somebody asked in a question, is Hasan an immigrant? No, he's an anchor baby. He was born in New Jersey. He has citizenship. Hasan platforming and being chummy with a Houthi terrorist should be enough to categorize him as a total piece of garbage. I agree. Ved Sunil says, y'all remember the Catboy comment that Hasan made to a trans fan who was critical of his performance in a debate? Yeah, he basically told her that he wished that her life was terrible for her and only her because she criticized him for doing poorly in the debate. Now, listen, I'll go off on a chatter or whatever. I'll even ban some chatters. We banned O'Seal today because he basically was just like, you're triggered by Hasan Piker. Burr, burr, burr. You're just mad that he's more masculine than you. Burr, burr, burr. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to that stuff. You're banned, right? However, I don't think I would ever tell a trans person, no matter how annoying they were, I would be like, thanks for your contributions. Have a nice day. You're banned. But I'm not going to tell them that I hope that like everything wrong in life goes wrong for them and them exclusively. That's crazy pants, right? So anyways, let's continue with Clancy Campbell. Clancy Campbell, a 20-year-old fan of Mr. Piker who is studying to become an esthetician, said the difference between Mr. Piker and his right-leaning counterpoints could be boiled down to the amount of care and where you put it. With the right-wing media and stuff, they care almost too much about issues that don't matter. With Hasan, it's like he cares, but in the right places. Alec Flynn, a 28-year-old comedian in Los Angeles whose material draws from his life as a straight man, said he does not religiously follow Mr. Piker, but he understood the appeal of Mr. Piker's brand and masculinity. Were they walking around LA just asking random Hasan fans and non-fans what they thought about Hasan? The more authentically yourself you are, the more effective you will be, said Mr. Flynn, who was also in a college fraternity. At the end of the day, people like frat bros. Okay. Thanks, Jack Crosby. I'm going to summarize this kind of as an outro to, end the segment or whatever. But like I said, I don't care that Hasan Piker exists. I think some of his speech is repugnant, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I am a free speech advocate. I think he can say what he wants to say. Where I draw the line is simping for jihadist organizations. And that's at the point that I think that anybody of sane mind should be like, this guy is a massive piece of garbage. Also, I'm going to show you something else because the progressives won't show you this, okay? Frogan, Denims, Hasan Piker, they will never show you this. So while they're simping for jihadist organizations, because the jihadist organizations fight the American empire, they're not going to point out to you where all the dead bodies come from actually in the war on terror, okay? This is the Iraq Body Count Project, all right? This is something that was originally created as a criticism of the United States of America and all the people who died in the war. You can 100% criticize the United States about the way that they conducted themselves in the war on terror. I do not care, okay? How do I refresh this? There we go. So you can 100% criticize the United States in the war on terror. It's bad policy. It got a lot of people killed, et cetera, et cetera. However, they're simping for jihadist organizations, but they will never bring fire or criticism to jihadist organizations and call them pieces of garbage because they're actually, quote unquote, resisting American imperialism. But where do 90% of the casualties from the war on terror come from? It's from jihadist organizations, okay? 80 to 90% of the deaths. Here, it's easily, if you look at this bar chart, it's easily 90 to 95% of the deaths related to the war on terror are jihadist organizations killing rival jihadist organizations and jihadists killing their fellow citizens. So I don't want to hear about America's bad, American imperialism, 1 million dead, all that kind of stuff, unless you bring up who the 1 million people were killed by. It's not the United States of America carpet bombing Iraqi cities. It's not the United States of America machine gunning civilian crowds outside of an Afghan market. It's jihadist terrorist organizations killing their fellow citizens. So until I see Hasan Piker reckon with that fact, until he develops a sense of humility about what he's capable of understanding and not understanding, until he understands the dynamics of violence, I will not take this person seriously, and I will not accept other people taking him seriously. Okay, you do what you want to do. You consume the content that you want to consume. I don't care. Y'all are free people in a free society. Y'all do what you want to do. Okay. However, what I'm telling you is that as long as I am living and breathing and Hasan is as big of a piece of garbage as he is, I am not going to accept liberals and Democrats sanitizing and normalizing him for the political space. I'm not going to. I will die first before I accept that. End of segment. All right. Chat, how are you? Casey says, Connor, what up, homie? What up back to you, bro? How are you? How's life?